Hey everybody, welcome back to Riverwalk Talk. My name is Chip Harrington. I'm taking the show on the road a little bit today. I'm actually out here in Holyoke, Massachusetts to talk to an individual about the city and a lot of changes that are taking place out here. I really love this city, I really do. Always have really good people. Anybody that I know that's from Holyoke, born and raised in Holyoke, they are deeply committed to this city. It's just kind of a real strong bond that people that I know that are from Holyoke. You know, it's had its challenges over the years, just like many towns do. But it's the birthplace of volleyball. That's something, right? That's cool. They got one of the greatest St. Patrick's Day parades in the entire country, as far as I'm concerned. But as I mentioned, there's always been challenges. You know, any city that's up along the Route 91 corridor deals with issues, whether it's Springfield, Holyoke, all the way up to Montreal, to be honest with you. So today I thought it'd be a really good idea to come out and talk to somebody who's kind of on the front lines of all that, and that is the newly appointed police chief, Chief Keenan.
Hey, how you doing, Chip?
What's up, man? Nice to see you.
Great thanks for having me.
I appreciate it. So I've known this guy for a long time. We used to work together back at the jail.
32 years ago.
A long time ago, exactly.
Yeah.
So we were kind of, behind the walls doing our thing. He went on to Springfield, I went on to other things, but kind of getting an update on kind of where he is. And I really want to talk a lot about the city of Holyoke. I was just saying at the intro there, I really like the city. It's a great city. It's got great bones, good people, and I also said that people who are born and raised here are deeply committed to this city, for sure. So let's start walking.
Sure. We're
going to walk along the canals here. The theme of my little show here is called Riverwalk Talk, so I try to do things near the water. So, hey, first of all, congratulations.
Thank you.
Being appointed police chief. You've been at it for what, 7 months now?
7 months, yeah.
So let me start. Let's go back a little bit. How does a guy from Weymouth, Massachusetts, become police chief of Holyoke, Massachusetts?
great question. It's almost history repeating itself again in the world. My mother was an Irish immigrant from County Mayo,
yeah.
And it turns out a lot of the Holyoke Irish are from County Mayo. So I've probably got some cousins here,
yeah.
that unconsciously their prayers got me here. But honestly, I went to Westfield State College, and I didn't know there was anything west of Worcester. As every guy who grew up in the Boston area did. And I went to Westfield State, and when I was there, I was fortunate enough to get a job at the Hampden County Sheriff's Office. And I was there for 3 years. I worked with you under Mike Ash, who has been a tremendous, tremendous guy. And I think we can all admit now, Chip, looking 32 years in the rearview mirror, we had no idea what we were working for. A guy who was just so influential and powerful.
It's a legend.
And set the world. And
yeah.
I got that job over there, and as a matter of fact, I still talk to him to this day. He left me a really nice message the other day, and when I got this job, he was kind enough to bring me to Holyoke and meet a bunch of his friends that have been around for a million years, and it's just the gift that keeps on giving with him. And from there, I ended up at the Springfield Police Department for 27 and a half years, and
right.
I was a patrol officer, sergeant, captain, lieutenant, and the Holyoke job opened up, and I thought I could probably I thought I'd have a shot at that, and I could help these folks up here, because there were similar issues to what went on in Springfield. So I applied, went through the process, and here I am walking around the canal with you.
Yeah, right? It is kind of a weird set of circumstances for both of us. So again, going back to sort of the beginning, so you went to Westfield, started at the jail. Did you always know you wanted to kind of get into the police work, law enforcement, things like that?
Yeah, I always, since I was in high school, I always wanted to be a cop. I liked the camaraderie, because I liked the camaraderie of it. And I liked when I was a young kid, we'd take the train around Boston, and when people would goof off, you'd see the MBTA officers, and when they get on the platform, the nonsense ended. And that sense of safety. And the cops in my town were good guys. They'd stop and talk to us, and it was a positive thing, and it was something I wanted to do.
Do you have other people in your family that are in law enforcement?
My brother's a sergeant in the Quincy, Massachusetts Police Department.
Okay. So you went to Westfield, studied law enforcement there, or criminal justice. I know you've got your master's, you've kind of, your education has kind of really always continued, but what is it about the component as far as like getting involved, being part of the community? Because in Springfield, you worked your way through the ranks there, but you can't do that by just doing the day-to-day stuff. You really got to be attached to the community and understanding the neighborhood you're working with. What was always your philosophy as far as kind of working with the community, being the community police officer?
So it's you got to make contact with people. You got to meet people where they are, and you have to listen. Springfield, I wasn't from Springfield either.
Right.
But, you know, in the patrol car, you meet people in neighborhoods. And prior to the cell phone, which I think has been a terrible thing for policing, you got to know the store owners and the residents and the merchants and that type of stuff. And it just gels.
Yep.
Coming in, you know, at this stage and where I am now, you end up meeting elected officials because just of the contacts. And then you go to events and you go to churches and you just tend to meet people and you go into coffee shops. And it's almost, you know, like you're running for office. You just meet and greets. And people are so thankful when you sit there and you just listen to them.
Yep.
Because I find that the people that bring you the issues always have the solution. You just got to sit there and listen to them.
Yeah, it's a really good way of saying it. Yeah, very good. So, like I said, you went to the Corrections Academy, went to the Police Academy, Springfield PD, and I was saying at the top of the show, you know, we have our challenges around here. You know, being along the Route 91 corridor kind of brings its own issues, really right from the Bronx of New York all the way up to Montreal. There are things that are happening along there, and Holyoke has had its struggles over the years, just like Springfield. But when you got into the weeds on it in Springfield, how did you work your way up into, you know, you would finish up as a captain, I think, in Springfield,
captain,
correct, right? What was your ascension there? What was the timeline, I guess I should say?
I was there 28 years, 13 to make sergeant, and then sergeant. I went from sergeant for 3 years, a lieutenant for 3, captain for 8 before I left. And my last job there was at the Firearms Investigation Unit, which was the Narcotics Bureau, and I was there for 7 years. And it was a phenomenal experience, and it was really great for this because I worked with some very, very, very skilled, dedicated detectives. Other agencies, it's a position where you meet the heads of the, you know, state police agencies and federal agencies, and you really learn to work in collaboration with other local police departments as well, because drugs and guns aren't a parochial business. They're the same guy who might be dealing in Springfield is sleeping in Ludlow.
Sure.
Or he's dealing in Holyoke, but he might stash in Springfield or Chicopee. So you really got to get to know your partners, and you have to learn to work with other folks. And it's a great experience.
Yeah. So you finished up there a few years ago. Did you always want to kind of continue working into that leadership, or when the Holyoke job opened up, was this something you were kind of looking at, or was it kind of just an opportunity that kind of just presented itself?
It was an opportunity. I wanted to be a chief, and when I got, you know, in the last 3 or 4 years, I wanted to be a police chief. And I knew I had the skills to do it, and I've always prepared myself for that. And I was studying for the Springfield Deputy Police Assessment Center at the same time the Holyoke one came around, and it's like, you know, luck happens when preparation meets opportunity. So my thoughts were in the books, and I was prepping, and both jobs kind of came simultaneously. Yeah. And it all worked out. It all worked out, and I'm where I'm supposed to be.
Yeah, I think that's great. And listen, I think if any city officials from Holyoke watching this, I think you guys made a great choice. Not just saying this because Brian's right next to me right now, but known this guy for a long time and really takes this very, very seriously. So the challenges in Holyoke, like I said, deeply committed people in this community. They love this city. It's a great spot. What are the number one challenges that you're seeing presenting itself, you know, when you right off the rip here?
If we talk about Holyoke people real quick, and I said this in my interview, and I've been saying it ever since I first came to Holyoke. If you remember Captain Brosnan, we worked with at the jail,
do,
right?
Yeah, yep. So, Tommy Brosnan.
Oh, legend. And he invited his folks were from the same part of Island as my mom, and he invited me to his brother's house for the St. Patrick's Day parade party, and I didn't know I wasn't in South Boston. Yeah. And I've said this forever. If Holyoke people are very similar to Boston people, where if you tell them their neighborhood's going downhill, they might punch you in the nose, and you tell someone from other communities that they might put a for sale sign on their house. So true. The fierce civic pride here is just awesome, and that's a major strength in Holyoke. But to your question about the problem, it's really threefold. It's mental illness, it's drug addiction, and it's homeless and poverty. And it's really causing a strain on the city of Holyoke.
and Springfield and Chicopee and Love. It doesn't.
Sure.
There's not a border when it comes to mental health. I work in the corrections field still. Deal with a lot of mental health, a lot of substance abuse, a lot of just criminal thinking in general. So how do you, as a police chief, so you oversee a pretty big department, a lot of men and women who are dedicated professionals. How do you, again, you're only 7 months into it, but what's the top 3 priorities that you're taking on, that you're dealing with right now?
Well, it's mental health, drug addiction, and preservation of open space and quality of life events, which people don't realize how important they are. And I recently met with a district court judge, and I said to the judge that all I'm looking for is the same level of respect and demeanor that's required in Wilbraham or Long Meadow for Holyoke residents. Because if something's not tolerated in Wilbraham or Long Meadow or East Long Meadow or Agawam, it shouldn't be tolerated in Holyoke.
Yeah.
So my officers come to me all the time. They'll say, we arrested Johnny Jones 10 times for drinking in public. He gets nothing. We got this guy 6 times driving without a license. They dismissed the tickets. So it's extremely frustrating, because I'm very certain if that was going on in another community, and I lived in Long Meadow for 20 years, I know what's tolerated and what isn't. If we feel, they feel like they don't get the same shake.
Yeah.
Which is extremely frustrating. And if you look at the corners here, you go to an intersection, the panhandling. The laws are what they are about panhandling, but we have to put up with it, and we've done our fair share in Holyoke. We manage. We have plenty of services. We're a very compassionate community, but it gets to the point where the levy gets to be too much.
Yeah. I'm sure the men and women that are in your department appreciate that. How do you, as the chief, support them? Obviously, you're talking to judges and doing that, but are there other ways that you're supporting the men and women that are within the department? Sure.
We've got a robust EAP program. We made a significant investment in the Holyoke Police Fitness Center, which we allowed them to divert their lunch break to a wellness break, which is working out great. Now, we do as much as we can for officer wellness, because it's extremely challenging. It's not easy being an urban police officer in a city like Holyoke. And there's if we talk about your average patrol officer in Holyoke, there's 6 patrol cars on the road in Holyoke. That's all there is, folks. There's 6 and 2 supervisors. So you're going to have 8 people for the day. It's 5 cars with 1 officer, 1 with 2. Unless that's the bottom of the bone, and that's what you're dealing with here. So it gets short very, very quickly. If we are over here and there's a restraining order, that takes 2 out of the mix.
Right.
Then if there's a shoplifter at the mall, that takes another 1. Now we're down to 3.
Yeah.
And then there's another car accident on Maple Street, which requires someone to direct traffic and write a report. Now we're down to 1.
Yeah.
So the baloney gets cut real thin. So which really impairs our ability to proactively do some quality of life stuff.
Yeah. How about community policing, getting the guys, years ago, you're talking about, back in the day, the beat cop, the person that was kind of walking the street. Do you have your officers in the community getting to know the businesses and kind of referring to what you started off saying earlier about just kind of being a part of that community?
Sure. So this just started in the last one. So prior to me getting here, officers worked in different assignments every day. There were no fixed beats. Now we have fixed beats. So the same officer works in the same car every shift. So they get to know their people. And we're starting an initiative to get announced next week about an open space park thing where officers are required to make community contracts and document them. So we're trying to, with our limited numbers, as much as we have to respond to 9/11, we're trying to make those quality community contacts in our off time. But there's not a lot of off time. There's not a lot of downtime here.
Yeah, I can imagine. So how about your relationship? And again, you're 7 months into this, still kind of getting your feet under you there, your sea legs, but your relationship with the city government. I think Josh Garcia is a good dude and is doing a lot of great things. You got city council. There's all different layers that, as police chief, you need to be cognizant of, right?
Sure. So I've had a great run with the city council, and it's funny because politically they're all over the spectrum.
Yeah.
But there's one thing they all have in common is they love the city of Holyoke.
Yep.
And that's the common bond that keeps them together, because I heard all these horror stories. You're not going to get this. They're going to cut. I haven't had a thing cut I get everything that I need because I explain it to them why we need what we have. And I found with dealing with the council that transparency and openness is it's the only way to do it. And the police department really derives its legitimacy from its relationship with the community and its local government. And you have to get along. You don't have to agree on everything, but you have to get along, because at the end of the day, the goal is to keep the residents, merchants, and citizens of Holyoke safe.
Yeah, yes, absolutely. How often do you meet with the mayor or the council? How often are you dealing with that?
I talk to councilors weekly, and the mayor we meet once a week or so, once every other week. But daily, I'm probably in contact with him.
Yeah,
and he's been great to deal with.
yeah,
he's been phenomenal, and his passion for Holyoke can't be denied. And the council, I mean, as much as they all, they have contentious relationships and robust debates back and forth, they're all trying to get to the same place. They just have different paths to get there.
yeah. I completely respect and understand that. Oh, big picture stuff. You look at the country as a whole, and we live in the Northeast, right? So there's a certain beat to life here versus, say, my son lives in Missouri. It's a completely different beat out there. How, as far as a police chief, how much do you feel any pressures from, like, say, national things taking place? I'm not talking about ICE and things like that, but I'm just referring to, like, police work in general.
Well, trends are trends. And what's happening, in New York will happen here, or what happens in Minnesota will happen here. But, like, it's, I read, I'm a ferocious reader, and we pay attention to the news, but things have been good here. We haven't had any problems. There's really civic cohesion, which is great.
Yeah.
And just no pressure, and we're just doing our thing.
Yeah. I mean, Massachusetts recently had some changes.
Sure.
After certain events that happened in the country. I'm a part-time police officer in this town of Ludlow, and I had to go back to the academy, get my full-time certificate, do 2,400 hours, the whole thing there. A lot of guys stepped away from it.
Sure.
Because, I mean, I got another full-time job that I'm doing, So a lot of guys stepped stepped away from it, and that really impacted, maybe not Holyoke as much, but certainly smaller communities around this area, where it was really a result of kind of, events that took place around the country. It was kind of a knee-jerk reaction, in my opinion, from the legislature. When those things happen like that, not necessarily Holyoke, but as a law enforcement professional, how do you deal with it in a leadership role?
So, I'll circle back. I was the president of the Springfield Police Supervisors Union for 8 years. Or maybe 9, I forget. Then, so I was the president of the union during the police reform of 2020.
Yep.
And I led a lot of the labor response from Western Mass. I organized all the unions out here to get that stuff going. And they got it wrong. We told them at the time they were getting it wrong. We weren't having the problems that went on there. We just weren't having them. And I mean, Chip, you've been in government your whole life. I mean, I'm sure a lot of your viewers are, but rushed legislation never stands the test of time.
Yep.
And we're seeing that now. Like, we're having a difficult time hiring police officers. They come up with these mandates that they don't fund. So a place like Holyoke, if they mandate an extra day of shooting, I have to try to find $20,000 in ammunition and overtime to backfill my spots, because I don't have the luxury of doing that. And then if you go to the smaller towns, where they're really relying on part-time brown book per se officers, they're in big trouble because they don't pay. And the guys got other jobs, and they just loved being the police. They loved the civic nature of the job, and these towns they're decimated with no police services. And we told them this was what was going to happen, but nobody wanted to listen.
Yeah, it's almost like they had to go back and just check a box and be like, hey, I'm tough on this. So
well, and so I network with legislators all the time, and our Western Mass delegation was very solid. They understood it, but you'll talk to guys now that will tell you off the record it was the worst vote they ever took, and they realize it now. I mean, it's like being a police chief. You have to have a moral compass, and you have to stick to it. You can't get caught up in the winds of the moment.
Yeah, for sure. So getting back to, I was talking about, Route 91 and the challenges that presents there. It's not, unfortunately, Holyoke hits the national news sometimes with the crime rate and things that are taking place here. How much does a corridor like that impact a city like Springfield, Holyoke, and all the way up to Brattleboro, Vermont?
So significantly, because I can tell you from my years in Springfield and in Holyoke now, we're 2 hours and 30 minutes from the Bronx. And the Bronx is a distribution hub for narcotics in the Northeast. I mean, they come from New Jersey, they come from Philadelphia, they come from to the Bronx. It's a locate, and it's a stop, and 391 and 91 and 90 all come through Holyoke.
Yep.
So it's really a crossroad of traffic stuff. We have a lot of rental properties, which has somewhat of a transient population. So it's in poverty, which is ripe for this type of behavior. It affects it significantly with people from Vermont that come down here to buy drugs, people from Chicopee that come over to buy drugs, and we have to deal with it.
Yeah. How big is so you got a narcotics unit? How big of a unit is something like that?
I have 13 detectives.
So that's pretty significant,
Well, there were 26 10 years ago.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah.
Interesting.
Yeah.
So has your department lost
Sure.
men and women over the years? Yeah.
Sure. Like I'll tell you, the mayor's been very, very proactive in the council and funding positions, and I had money to hire 10 for this academy starting now. I was only able to get 3.
Yeah.
A lot of them fail the fitness tests. Physical fitness is a big problem. I mean, video games and sedentary lifestyle has really taken over our youth.
Interesting. I guess what is your take on that? So the next generation, you and I are similar age group. You're obviously a very active individual. We're dealing with it in corrections as well too. Just finding people that are, number one, interested, number two, physically fit, and then willing to put in the time. And because there's sometimes you're forced to work, right?
Yeah.
You need a body. You're not going home. You got to stay. Yeah. How do you manage that as administrator?
So we do the best we can, trying not to hold people. We get creative with our roster, but to your point, a lot of times you come to work and you don't get to go home. And those are the things that make this career not attractive to younger folks. And the other issue in corrections and policing, we're still hiring people like we did in 1950.
Yeah.
It doesn't work. We're dealing with a complete different workforce, and our hiring practices are dictated by civil service in the state. So unless there's a wholesale change, they used to give the exam every 2 years. Now they're doing it 2 times a year.
Right.
So it's coming. But what we find is during the process is that the younger generation, they want a job, whether it's policing or it's something else. And it's probably a 3 to 6 month process of exam to job.
Yeah.
And they don't want to wait. So you tell them that you come in and sign a list. And then there's a background investigation that might take a couple of months. And then you got to see a psychiatrist and a physical doctor and a fitness test. And, and something pops in the meantime and they're gone. Or in this day and age, we're competing with the trades. And the trades are very much in demand and very lucrative.
Yeah, and we need more people in the trades too.
Oh, yeah.
All right, step away from police work. What does Brian Keenan do outside of work? Stay mentally focused, physically fit. What are your hobbies?
I'm a 4:30 in the morning daily exercise guy.
Okay.
I'm a meditation guy, believe it or not.
That is hard to believe.
Yeah, it is hard to believe, and I'm telling you, I got friends I network with. I got a place I go to down in the Cape. We go down to the Cape. I got a son that keeps me busy. He's a college student, junior in college. So there's plenty to do. And this job requires a lot. You don't turn your brain off. So it's constantly multitasking. But, and I picked up golf this year until I fell down the stairs and tore my rotator cuff. So, it's probably God doing for me what I can't do for myself.
So I called him like a month and a half ago and said, hey, Brian, want to kind of, he's like, yeah, sure, do it. Then I look on the news and I see him in a sling. I'm like, oh, I guess I'll give him some time. So what happened?
Yeah, I just, socks on, walking down the stairs. I slipped down the stairs and fell and tore my rotator cuff.
Oh, my, on your right?
My right, yeah.
Oh, geez.
Yeah.
How you doing now?
We're getting there. Great surgery. Dr. Corsetti at New England Orthopedics. Shout out to him. He did a phenomenal job, and I get great physical therapy with Dan Griffin at Resilience in Agawam and a good team. And My guys in Holyoke really stepped up for me when I couldn't drive. They'd pick me up and drive me to work, and
Yeah.
phenomenal. And,
Sucks getting old.
yeah, it's, you know what though, but it really it's part of life, you know, and it's no big deal. It just 6 months you come back and you're fine.
Right. Yeah. So you come to work, like you say, you're a 4:30 guy. What's a typical day in the life of a chief in Holyoke, Mass?
For me, it's usually it's 4:35 in the emails, looking at stuff, looking at a nightline, some exercise, breakfast, come in, phone calls in the morning. I meet with my team in the morning. I have my executive aide is great, my internal affairs guy, detective captain. We meet with them to see what's going on and get a pulse for what the issues of the day are, and then we try to adhere to a schedule without the issue of the day taking over, which can be challenging. But there's always something to do. We just had a giant Patronella's Festival here for 4 days, which was phenomenal. No issues. Downtown was full. Then the road race, the parade. There's a food truck. There's always something going on.
Yeah.
There's always something going on.
About the road race, I mentioned that at the top of the show too. I think it's one of the largest, parade, St. Patty's Day parades in the country.
Yeah.
How much logistically is that challenging, or to put a demand on your force?
Well,
There's state police here. As a Ludlow cop, I come here and help out and doing traffic and stuff.
Yeah, I'll tell you, kudos to Captain Isaiah Cruz. He runs this every year with the state police and our other partner agencies. And they do a great job for the amount of people that are in Holyoke for that time. And fortunately, we've had, we haven't had any incidents. And there's always potential. You watch the national news, and we follow trends, and we do a good job with, setting up a perimeter as best we can. But the parade route, you're looking at 2.5 miles of keeping people safe, which is very challenging. And
Yeah.
the road race is 6.2, and then that giant party downtown afterwards. So
Yeah.
it's great, but it's just awesome seeing the city come out like that. And I was overwhelmed by my first one this year.
As far as being chief?
Oh, just so happy,
Right.
So made me smile seeing so many people happy and just having a great time.
Yeah, it really is a great event. I mean, it's, I've born and raised in Western Mass here, and it's always been like a staple of getting to Holyoke for the parade and the race day too. I unfortunately can't run much anymore because I'm an old man like you. So, but I used to love to do the race day and parade day. So, and again, it's not just Holyoke. It's really the entire region that's coming out. I mean, there's got to be a couple 100,000 people on that parade route, right?
Sure.
Good times for everybody.
Yeah, everyone kicks in, everybody kicks in, and just it gets done.
Yeah, for sure. All right, looking down the road, you're going to be chief for a good amount of time here. What are the next priorities, next steps for the Holyoke PD?
So we're really investing in our training. We're really investing in our training and trying to get ahead of the curve on some issues, build up our people. We have a very young command staff. We talked about police reform, and the ancillary effect of that was mass retirements in every law enforcement agency in the country.
Yep.
So I have very young supervisors, very young commanders. So we're doing what we can to build them up and start to build some infrastructure that was missing. And there's just a lot of back of the house job descriptions and succession planning and the non-sexy things that are required for operational excellence is what we're focusing on. And with the street, we're focusing on getting our officers out there, making community contacts and getting to know the folks and preserve open spaces and parks and really improve the quality of life for our citizens. Our detectives, we're getting them some outstanding training, and I can't say enough about how I've been received by the Holyoke PD staff. They've just been really, really good. They've treated me well, and we're really making some great progress. Good stuff. And we also look forward to working with our partner agencies as we have to ensure success. We've had a really good run, and a big part of that is our partnerships with the Mass State Police, District Attorney Gallooni. I can't say enough about Sheriff Coachy. The building was in a real state of disrepair, and he stepped up with his crews and his staff, and they've done an excellent job really making it a beautiful, immaculate, clean working space. And I can't thank him enough for that.
And that's a win for everybody. The guys you're referring to, like kind of their community service division that comes out and does some work in the public. Because the guys that are doing the work, they're picking up a skill, right? I mean, that's
Yeah.
a transferable skill into the community when they are released. And you know, Mike Ash did that a lot too. But yeah, Sheriff Coachy has really done an excellent job. I just took a little tour of Holyoke PD, and I think it looks great. The gym you got there is beautiful. It's freshly painted, you said,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Cleaned up really nice.
I'll tell you, it's and kudos to our state delegation too, Representative Duffy, and Senator Velas has really been a champion for us. He's got us some pretty decent earmarks to help with funding for some issues, and these 30-year working relationships from back at the jail all the way to today have really paid off in tenfold with the things that we're able to get for the city of Holyoke, and I like it. I like the networking, and I love bringing people together because collaboration's key.
Yeah, that is true when you're a public official like you are. How about the landscape of Holyoke? So we're by the canals right now,
Sure.
which is super cool.
Yeah.
There's some really cool little niche businesses that you got around here. But then you've also got like, you know, the countryside of Holyoke, Ashley Reservoir, along the Connecticut River.
Yeah.
It's such a diverse community in so many different ways.
Yeah, it's probably the only place in the world where if you look at the dispatch log, there's 2 calls in a row, one for homeless people panhandling, another one for a bear in a backyard, you know.
True.
So you don't see that often, but I was amazed by the amount of bears that are in Holyoke. I didn't realize there were that many.
A guy from Weymouth, you probably never seen a bear in your life.
Smokey the Bear and Yogi were about it, you know.
But really, I mean, like you said, the canals here, it's just such, it's got such a cool vibe to it. There's so much.
Beautiful.
Not, you know, there's a lot of potential, but it just seems like there's a bit of a resurgence taking place along this downtown area.
There's 80 apartments that are going to open up October 1st, right adjacent to the police department. They did a beautiful job. This canal walk that we're walking on now is beautiful. The Heritage Park with the merry-go-round, beautiful.
Yep.
The state has a giant data center right next to the police station, beautiful. The boys club completely done over. I don't know if you know Connor Bevan at the Holyoke Y.
Yeah.
You should see the stuff that's going on over there. They put batting cages in, golf simulators, pickleball. There's a ton of great stuff going on in Holyoke. It's just, we got to get the people in.
Yeah. I mean, between the high schools you got here, you got Dean, Holyoke High, Holyoke Catholic's not around anymore. They kind of merged with Cathedral, but you know the next generation and taking care of the youthful part of Holyoke. How involved is Holyoke PD in something like that? You got school resource officers, I'm assuming.
Sure. Yeah, we have school resource officers. We have we partner up with the Sheriff's Office and the U.S. Attorney with basketball leagues. We have a graduation program here next week for one of Eddie Case's programs. Shout out to Eddie Case, who's the Mother Teresa of Holyoke. He's everywhere and he's got everything going on. And we did the big backpack giveaway last weekend. We do plenty to trunk or treat. We're out there a lot with the kids. We give our bikes to Bob the Bike Man. We went the X property. We're out there.
Yeah. It's a good city. I'm personally really happy for you, but I'm really excited for the city of Holyoke to have a guy like Chief Keenan kind of steering the ship now for the next several years. I mean, Holyoke PD's got a long, storied history. You know, in many ways tragic in some ways. You had DeNapoli years ago.
Yeah.
That was tragic. I remember working up here when we had the Holyoke Armory. Remember we had that as far as part of our
corrections.
Yeah, when we were working there.
Yeah.
It's just a real good city. So, well, like you said, I appreciate. I'm excited for you. I'm excited for the city. So, thank you very much for taking the time. Even though it hasn't rained in literally 3 weeks, and we decided to do this, and it starts to kind of rain a little bit here today.
Yeah.
So, I know you got some stuff going on with Sheriff Coachy a little bit later today, right?
Yeah. We got the picnic, clam bake today. We have that event. And we have a great event with Veterans Court at 1:30 at the War Memorial.
Okay.
And let's talk about that for a second, if you don't mind.
Yeah.
We have this awesome program. It's a police alternative response initiative where anybody who has an overdose in the city of Holyoke, a detective goes with a clinician, with a sheriff's department person, and a recovery coach. We visit their family, and we offer services. And if they live outside of the city of Holyoke, we touch bases with local service providers, and if someone knocks on the door, and we prevent overdoses every day with that. Our detectives are in the alleys and they're in the back hallways, hunting, searching people out, and helping folks. And that's just one of the compassionate things that we do that people don't realize.
Sure.
We do a lot more than arrest folks up here.
Yeah, a lot behind the scenes. Is that something that you picked up from another community, or is that like a Holyoke specific model?
It's going on around the country, but Holyoke's really, in conjunction with the Sheriff's Department, we've really made it our own. And we do a great job with it. And, you know, and the success is measured with the, you know, the stories you hear from the families that are saved and the guys that are still alive. And
Yeah.
the sheriff just opened up a alternative AISS, alternative services
Yep.
place at the War Memorial in Holyoke, which is great for offenders that are trying to get their life together, because folks would get out of jail, released to Holyoke, they'd have to take 3 buses to get to State Street in Springfield
Yeah.
and check in every day. Well, how's the guy going to work
Yeah.
if he's spending 6 hours a day on the PVTA bus? So it's
Yeah.
another good thing that's happening here. We're making headway.
Let's go over here. We'll chat.
Sure, sure.
Yeah. So he just referred to AISS. It used to be called, I think under Sheriff Ash, it was all inclusive, or no, it was after incarceration support services.
Yeah,
Now it's all inclusive support services. So it's really for anybody in the community that is looking for support, whether it's, you know, mental health, substance abuse, anything along those lines, and that's completely free of charge.
Free of charge.
For everybody involved.
Free of charge, yeah.
How often do you get together with area police chiefs? What do you guys do?
So we do the monthly Western Mass Chiefs of Police, but I mean, I'm talking to guys every day, and they've, in my tenure here, they've been very generous with their time. The Chief Major in Chicopee's been great to me. Chief Gearing in Westside, we need help. Danny Vladas, awesome, just recently retired, one of the best guys I've ever met. Good group of guys. Superintendent Akers in Springfield has been very generous with his staff and his resources, helping us where we needed some help. It's good. We network. It's a really good group of guys, and I can't say enough about my fellow chiefs of police in Western Massachusetts.
Yeah.
And to that point, Colonel Noble from the state police has been great, a newer guy, and his predecessor, Colonel Mon, was another great guy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, like, you know, you hear that saying, it takes a village, and certainly in this world that you work in, it kind of, you guys got to lean on each other quite a bit, because you're all dealing with very similar issues, some more than others. But like you said, Holyoke is so unique, where, you know, you got the canals and some of the great things that are happening there, and then you got upcountry a little bit where there's bears walking around.
Bears, yeah.
So, well, hey man, thanks. I appreciate it. Congratulations.
Thank you.
It's, and again, great job, City of Holyoke. You got a good guy here that's gonna do really great things over here. So, I hope we can maybe do a check-in. Maybe next year we'll check in, see how things are going. And 7 months, it's a long time, but it's not a long time.
No,
You still got a while to go. I'm sure you're still kind of
Let's do it.
still doing that. So
You could run the road race with your camera here, Chip. It would be quite the podcast.
Listen,
interviewing racers.
I got a bad knee. I would love to get back into it. I just had 2 discs replaced in my neck a little while ago from jumping. Do you remember the time I jumped off the tier?
Yeah.
I've done crazy things in my life, so it's all coming back to roost. So I would love to run I will be at the Holyoke Road Race, just not sure I'm going to be running next year. So, all right, that's going to do it for this week's show. Thanks for tuning in. If you want to see more of these, I do have a YouTube channel. It's Riverwalk Talk with Chip Harrington. You can see some of the past shows we've done. And if you have suggestions for future guests, feel free to shoot me a message. So, thank you very much. We'll see you soon.
Thank you.